What's happening, social media land? How you doing in the Merged Media Facebook page, as well as the Digital Marketing for Travel Pros Facebook group? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday so far. It is Monday, right? Yeah, it's Monday. Okay, cool. So unfortunately, we don't have Nikita Brown with us today to talk about social media engagement, but that's okay because we have a ton of topics to talk to you about today in today's live episode. I'm going to hand over the conch to David, who's going to introduce today's podcast. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in today. Happy to have you back on what will be a bonus episode of the Merge Marketing Podcast. So today what we're going to be doing is Jason and I are going to be going back and forth on some new social media updates and what's going on in social media land. As you can imagine, there is a ton of things to go over, and there's been a ton of updates and new things going on. Also just things that people aren't truly understanding about Facebook, for example, that hopefully we can chat about and demystify today as well. So it's going to be a random show, but nonetheless, it's going to bring a lot of value and a lot of important updates to business owners that want to use these platforms to grow their business and get results.
Yeah, definitely. So it's, it's been a while since we had one of these episodes, but so much has changed in the social media landscape. Things change and move so quickly, which is why it's so important to be ahead of the curve with a lot of these changes that happen, because the things that are the ad types or platforms that worked yesterday, they don't work as well today. And things are always shifting. So it's important to be nimble in this space. And there's a few huge updates that we're going to talk about today.
I think we should have maybe what we call like a random show once a quarter or something like that. Let's do a random show. You and I will just talk about a bunch of crap that's going on.
Well, crap that people care about.
Yeah,
right?
Crap that you care about.
Cool. That's a good name for a podcast. Crap that people care about.
That could be what what those episodes are called. Crap that people should care about.
Love it.
Cool.
All right. What's the first piece of crap that people should care about?
All right. So the first one is a kind of a mix between TikTok and Instagram. So for those of you that are familiar with TikTok, it's a social media platform. Previously Musical.ly. I am not super active on TikTok, although Jay is. It's built mostly for Gen Z, so the younger demographic, teenagers nowadays. Aside,
I disagree with you, man. It's
not a chance.
No,
anybody you talk to will say that Gen Z, that is the platform that they live on. However, one of the fastest growing demographics on the platform are older populations, let's say 40 plus, but that's because that population is so small. I think it represents 1% of the platform, that any sort of growth would make it seem like the fastest growing demographic is my thought.
Okay. No, fair enough. And I mean, do you have a TikTok account yourself?
Yeah.
How do you use it?
I have one post, and the reason I post it is because this is one reason why I know you love TikTok so much and so many other people love TikTok, is that it's a very easy platform to share content to the other social media platforms, because you can create high quality video content that is shareable on Instagram, for example. So I did that. I created one video just to see what it was like so that I could share it to my Instagram and get a feature that you can't get on Instagram, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so there is exactly. And I think TikTok, the number one thing that makes TikTok so attractive is the ability to create very good videos. The video editing tools are very good. The ability to leverage music in your videos is very good. And to your point, it is a younger demographic that naturally grew up on that platform, because that platform used to be Musical.ly. So when these kids were like, 12, 13 years old, they're now creeping up to, 17, 18 years old now, using this platform, and the functionality is just, it's familiar for them, right? Mm-hmm. But something to the user experience on the platform, I think, is better than most of the other platforms, because it's the way you consume the content. It's very addictive. It's very difficult to leave the platform. I kick myself because I'll be sitting there on the couch and I will consume hour after hour and sit there at the end of the night looking at myself being like, what did I do tonight? I did absolutely nothing but scroll past videos.
Yeah.
And but it's built that way, is that every 15 seconds, basically they're little 15-second videos that are built towards people with a short attention span, right? So, and who has a shorter attention span? Millennials like yourself, and myself. It's actually, I think it kind of reinforces a short attention span. It's funny because
100%.
it really does. Because now I have no tolerance or no patience for watching anything longer than a 30-second video on social media. And I credit a lot of that to TikTok, because my brain now works in these little 15-second cubes where if anything's longer than 15 seconds, I get bored. It's crazy. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's true. I agree with everything you're saying. I think that it started out young, as you'd said, and now it's potentially aging up a little bit. More of the older crew are getting onto the platform. And when I say older, we're not talking old. It's like 30s, 40s, and even 50s. But it's the evolution of any social media platform. And we've talked about this in the past. Every social media platform eventually ages, right? Like Instagram was for younger demographic, like teenagers, like TikTok is now, but is since aged up because TikTok came. And
well, I think that's the natural evolution of a social media platform, right? Like why is the fastest growing demo on Facebook women and men 50 plus, right? And naturally it's probably the fastest growing demo on Instagram have got to be probably 30 to 40 type thing, right? Like people are naturally, it's catching up with time, right? I think the longer it's around, the more it becomes a household name, the more people can trust the platform, the more users from all generations are going to join the platform. But, with that in mind, I think Facebook is very much geared towards an older type of generation who has a tendency to scroll and stop on each piece of content, consume the content, read the content, click on the content, go and read a blog about a certain topic. Like that's the type of behavior that a lot of, the older generations might have, my generation as well. But younger generations are not reading blogs at the same kind of rate that an older generation might be.
No.
Right?
And really what the news is today around TikTok is that Facebook, in typical Facebook fashion, essentially replicated and copied the functionality and the idea of this platform and embedded it into the Instagram app, right? Mm-hmm. Because TikTok is a competitor and they want to take back those users onto their own platform. So Instagram came out with a new feature last week called Reels, and it is essentially a TikTok TikTok copycat. Now, the feedback is kind of mixed. Obviously, it works very, very differently. And in my opinion, it might not be as successful as we think bringing over TikTok users, because TikTok users, the Gen Z, are not used to going on to Instagram. That's not the platform that they grew up using. It's not the platform that they're used to going to. So just because Instagram has embedded this new Reels feature into their app, it's serving the Gen X and the millennials that are already living on Instagram. It might bring over some of those Gen Zs, because if TikTok does get shut down, which is the other news that we can talk about in a little bit, they'll have no place to go. So this Reels might be their next stop, which would make a whole lot of sense. But the user experience of Reels isn't as good as TikTok. And I think you'll find that, because one of the things that you referenced that you love so much about TikTok is it's just an endless stream of these quick 15-second videos that you can just watch and consume. Whereas on Instagram, just playing with it over the last couple of days, there isn't that stream of videos. It's very confusing. How do you use Reels? Where is it? Because there isn't a dedicated spot within the Instagram app where you can go to a Reels tab or a Reels section. It's awkward. It's in your camera. So where are those videos? Where are those quick streams? They're in the Explore tab with all of the other content.
So, yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not as seamless as logging into the platform and there. Now you can go sit on your TikTok session, and this is the thing. And then there's a couple points I want to make. One, the reason why TikTok, I think, is in the way that it works and why it's so successful is it's almost like Howard Stern.
Yeah.
And why do people listen to Howard Stern?
Because he says whatever he wants. He's entertaining.
People don't want to not listen to him because they want to know what he's going to say next.
Yep.
They're always hanging on to what he's going to say next.
Yeah.
Who's he going to offend? What's he going to do? You know, that's why people listen to Howard Stern. And I find it's the same thing with TikTok, where you don't want to leave the platform because you want to see that next video. What is that next thing? You know, you don't want to miss out. So that's why you're constantly just scrolling, finding that next piece of entertainment, right? Now, to go back to what you said there about the Gen Zs transitioning over to Instagram. Well, you know, every single TikTok influencer that's out there right now that got the recent news about what the US ban on TikTok, which we'll get into in a second. But, you know, all of the TikTokers that are influencers are pushing people over to their Instagrams. So that's kind of a good play for Instagram, is the fact that all these influencers are telling their audience there on Instagram with hundreds and thousands and millions of followers to go check out their Instagram. And the good thing is on TikTok, there's a direct link from your to your Instagram account from your TikTok profile.
Yeah. I mean, which is smart. You should use any social media platform to feed to and grow your other platforms, if that makes sense. Like, one thing that we do and so many other people do is we use the content that we publish on Instagram and Facebook to get people over to our YouTube channel so that we can grow our YouTube channel, and vice versa. So it's smart that they're doing that. I mean, what they should do and other brands should do is find a way to leverage those people and build an email list. Because as we've also said in the past, the email list is the only thing that you own, the only thing that you can take with you and do whatever you want with. We've said this in the past, that if Facebook were to shut down or if Instagram were to shut down, what would you have? And it's just kind of funny how we never thought we would experience that with Facebook or Instagram actually shutting down and us losing all of our followers. But in the case of TikTok, this is an actual real threat. And there's a clock ticking on it that very well could happen. So you're right.
No pun intended, eh?
Yeah, it's true. And I never thought of that. But yeah, these people got to think about where they're going to send people and how they're going to maintain or convert those followers.
Yeah, the big winner out of this is definitely, I think it will be Instagram, but you know, they do need to make that transition as seamless as possible. Like anything, like any sort of transition, like the TikTokers going over to Instagram, merging over there, are going to need a similar, if not identical, experience.
I agree.
So who's going to buy TikTok? What's the deal? Maybe you can give us a tale of the tape. What's happening with TikTok?
Yeah. So TikTok is, from my understanding, owned by a Chinese company. And Trump, being Trump and, you know, not the biggest fan of China, from my understanding, is threatening to shut down TikTok in the United States unless a US-based company purchases it. So when he came out with that statement, there were a couple companies that jumped into the ring, offering to buy the company. First was Microsoft, and then second was Apple. And from my understanding, the response from TikTok, the company, was that, well, wait a minute, we're not going anywhere. We're not selling it. I think they might be faced with a dilemma to actually open up conversations to sell the company if it does end up getting shut down, which it sounds like Trump is very serious about doing, because he put a time on it. He said if in the next 45 days the company is not sold to a US-based company, then we'll be shutting it down in the US. So my thought is that those conversations will probably start, although there is, you know, a large amount of users on the TikTok platform that aren't in the US. The US does make up a substantial amount of users on the platform, obviously. So I don't know, I'm not really that emotional to it. I'm not on the platform. But I mean, if we're going to pick who I think should buy it, I'm going to go with my love for Apple and say that Apple should buy it. I mean, they make great products. They're very user-friendly. The experience on all the products is great. So I would only imagine if they were to buy a platform like TikTok, the platform would be the same. It would be very aesthetically pleasing and user-friendly, and it would work really, really well. Whereas PC...
Would it work on Android?
Yeah. I would think so. Whereas PCs, think about PC. You're a Mac user too. Using a PC historically hasn't been that user-friendly and that seamless. And I mean, look at LinkedIn, for example. It's kind of like a dated platform. They're making a lot of updates recently, but it still hasn't caught up to all of the other social media platforms. So would I want Microsoft buying TikTok? Probably not.
Right. Well, they're very, very different platforms and used for very, very different purposes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just TikTok. Apparently, what I heard is that it's the U.S. operation of TikTok, which could be sold potentially. I don't know if I don't think it's the entire app, because I mean the app is massive in Asia. It's massive in a lot of places in the world aside from the U.S. But the U.S. operation could be sold to a company. Now that company inheriting that app is probably going to have to deal with a bunch of hoops and a bunch of red flags with privacy issues that the app has. The app has a ton of privacy issues, right? That's the prime reason why it's being banned, not just because of Trump's dislike for China, but I think it has to do a lot with the privacy stuff, right?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So next topic, let's switch lanes here. We want to talk a little bit about engagement, right?
Yeah, we do. Social media engagement. So maybe you have some just some things that maybe you've been noticing through the content that you've been creating and publishing over the last few months during COVID-19. What kind of engagement you're getting and response you're getting. Has it gone up? Has it gone down? I would think it's
so for the campaigns that I've been running, prices across the board have been lower than they have historically been pre-COVID. And a lot of that has to do with the fact of a lot of businesses pulling out their marketing dollars. They can't operate right now, such as dentists and things like that. So restaurants as well, who are just slowly easing back into, spending some budget on Facebook and Instagram. But you get a lot of home renovation businesses, landscaping, e-commerce. These are all industries that are crushing life right now. People are spending money on their house, and they're looking for solutions online. So I work very closely with the landscape company, and the landscape company is generating leads from Google and Facebook nonstop, and it's crazy how much they're growing over the last couple months. Right. Now, there's certain things that you can take advantage of right now. So, let's say you're a business that, let's say any business, let's say you want to grow your email list. Well, we're running this for campaigns, as you know, Dave. We're running lead gen campaigns where people submit their information on Facebook to get access to a downloadable PDF or a white paper or something like that. This type of thing can work across any business and position you as that thought leader in that industry. I had a call with a gentleman earlier today who's a coach. He's a Forex. He helps with Forex trading, so stocks and things like that, and he helps train people on how to do stocks. Well, I suggested to him, why not do a white paper that answers the question, what you may be doing wrong with your stocks, with your trading, and have 5 points. Put it in a one-pager, and then make it look pretty and turn it into a downloadable PDF or a white paper. This is a piece of content that a lot of people would be interested in getting, and especially people on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Now, the beauty thing is this. You create that ad, and I'm just using the stock trading example as the example. Okay, why your stocks are not trading as well as you would like. Okay, that could be the topic for it. People would click that, submit their information, provide their email and name and phone number, and then you would basically get that information in your email, and now you can send them that PDF and then add them to your email campaign moving forward. Mm-hmm. Now, if they submit their phone number as well, that's a great opportunity to actually engage with them and give them a call and be like, hey, how did you find that PDF? Did you have a chance to go through it? Hey, how about I walk you through it right now? If I get that call from somebody that sent me a PDF and they were the actual person writing it, this is going to be a pretty engaging conversation. This is not some person trying to sell me cold. I actually opted in, and now we're having a conversation. This is something, and you can get leads right now for super cheap on Facebook. And the thing is this, a lot of people, especially in the B2B space, are like, Facebook doesn't work for me. Well, it can work for you, because look, even though that person that's opting into receiving that white paper might not read it at that moment, they are going to receive it in their email. So when they are back at their desk, back in work mode, they're going to go and open up that email and get that PDF that they opted into during their Facebook experience. Mm-hmm. That is the thing. And to a lot of B2B's points, it's like, okay, you might not get that appointment booked on Facebook because people, a lot of the times when they're scrolling through their Facebook feed, are not thinking work. They're thinking pleasure. I want to see what my niece is doing. I want to see what my brother's up to, my best friend. This is the type of stuff that the mentality and the behavior that people are having on Facebook. They want to consume this information. It's leisurely, it's casual, but get them over to email at a time that's fit for them to consume that content that you want them to consume. And then you're going to be able to open up a conversation with them when they are ready.
100%. We said it earlier, like the only thing that you own at the end of the day is your email list. So why not use these platforms to grow it through a lead magnet, like some sort of downloadable PDF or some sort of document that you can offer to people. We're doing it right now for a lot of our clients. Are working really, really well. And yeah, it's just a point of like these platforms aren't just a silver bullet. They're not gonna solve all of your problems. They're not gonna make you millionaires overnight. It's a marketing strategy that involves a lot of different touch points. I think it was a couple months ago we had done a presentation, and what was it? It was like 20 to 40, somewhere in that range, different touch points that you need to have with a customer before they actually make a buying decision. And everybody falls differently, right? Like somebody that is a little bit more quicker to decide might be 20 touch points, maybe 15, but someone that takes a little bit longer might be 40 touch points. And so if you're relying on just your email or just Facebook or whatever it is to reach those 50 touch points or 20 touch points, your sales process life cycle is going to take a lot longer. So
100%. And I mean, and a lot of people are like, they don't know where to start with a white paper. It's probably the easiest thing you can do. If you can write just one page with maybe 5 points, like let's say if you're a barbecue company, well, 5 ways on how to grill a steak. Right? Yeah. If you're a travel agent, well, the 5 places that have recovered the quickest from COVID and are going to be ready to travel to within the next 3 months. Great PDF. I would love to read that.
Me too.
And somebody just needs to write it. Yeah. Write it. Make it look fancy. Don't just do it on like a simple doc. Like, use a platform like Canva to create it and make it look good. Mm-hmm. And then that's your lead magnet. That's your tripwire. That's your white paper. And now just ask Facebook for the information. You don't need to send them to a landing page. You don't even need to use a website for this. All you need to do is create a Facebook lead ad. Mm-hmm. People, when they see the ad, they're going to click that learn more button or get offer button. And it's going to open up a form within Facebook where people submit their name, email, and phone number. For most people, that information is going to auto-populate. So they actually don't have to manually type in all that info, which is going to increase the volume of leads that you get. Now, you're not looking to close these leads right now. You're looking to close them in the future. That email is going to be sent directly to your email. You're going to want to use a platform like Zapier, however you want to pronounce it, to send that lead over. And then from there, you develop that email list. Just develop it. Yeah. Because, I mean, you can sell them any point in time that you want, but you have to lead with the value first, right? What Gary Vee say?
He says lots of things. Jab, right hook. Yeah.
Jab, right hook, right? You got to give, then ask, right? So,
don't be offended if you don't get what you ask for, because there's no expectation. There's no expectation that they should give whatever it is you're asking for. You just now have the ability to then ask.
A lot of people like freebies. There's going to be a lot of people downloading this white paper, and they're 100%. Never going to be a client ever. 100%. But that's okay, because they're in your ecosystem, and it's really all about the amount of activity at that point, or the volume that you have. It's safe to assume that 100 people that get this downloadable PDF, you're probably going to close a good handful of them.
Yeah. Right? And all this is to say that in terms of social media engagement, it's up right now. There's a ton of it. We've seen it throughout the entire pandemic. People are at home, people are on social, they're engaging more, it's up. And these lead ads are just one way that we ourselves, as well as our clients, are seeing a lot of engagement and good results. So I don't know if you want to maybe touch quickly on the other ad that we have running right now that's crushing it in terms of engagement, but
which was that?
The mailbox.
Oh, right. Great example. So we have a post running right now where David posted it on his LinkedIn. It was explain the post, David. You explain the post, and I'll explain the process.
Yeah, definitely. So go check out my LinkedIn if you want. It was a post I made about a week and a half ago, and essentially, I take a walk every single morning, and I walk by this mailbox where everybody goes to get their mail, and beside it was a bin that somebody purposely put there. One of the local people living in the area obviously put there so that when you go to your mailbox and take all of that junk that you get in there out, you have a place to throw it, which means, and hits home the point that we've been saying this entire time, is all that direct mail that businesses are spending money to send out are going directly into the trash. People don't even see it. And the newspaper is another great example. It gets thrown on the end of your driveway. People leave it there until garbage day and just chuck it in the bin, and they put it on the corner right where it is. But anyways, that's the context, is these bins, and it's all on these streets. People are putting these bins beside the mailboxes for people to just throw their direct mail in there.
So David's, you posted that on LinkedIn with a picture of the junk box next to the mailbox.
Yep.
And I saw it, and I saw this is a great Facebook ad. This needs to be on Facebook because this is going to garner a lot of engagement, and Facebook loves engagement. So I grabbed that post verbatim, copy and pasted, and I put it under Merge Media as a Facebook ad, spending $3 a day. Mm-hmm. This ad's probably running for the last maybe a week and a half or so since you posted it, 2 weeks, and it's $3 a day. And the post is creeping up to 1,000 engagements. It's got over 200 comments, like people getting fired up. You know, I totally agree. That is so stupid, silly. Yeah. Why is there a garbage box next to the mailbox? You know, why are people wasting their money? But you have people on the flip side of it as well, which are, you know, might have worked for Canada Post, worked at the Postal Service, and they're getting heated up about it. They're like, you know, people have roofs put over their head with the money they make doing that job. You know what I mean? So, but my point is it's stirring up a lot of conversation, and that's what gets more engagement for you. You know, I think the post is, I'd love to pull it up. I forget. We've gotten that ad in front of a lot of people for less than $20.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because every single person that has commented or engaged on that post or shared it, because we've had probably close to 100 people share it, is going into our funnel, and they are going to see, you know, they're going to see ads for Merged Media, you know, a digital marketing agency, which is, we're hoping there's a lot of business owners that saw that post that are spending money on flyers being like, why am I spending money? Yeah. They're totally right. And now they're seeing social media ads or digital marketing ads in their feed. So that's kind of the goal with that piece of content. But going all the way back here to the point that we said in the beginning, which was what is getting engagement these days, and it is meaningful conversations. It's getting people talking. When you open up the news feed on your phone, what is usually out of those 10 notifications, I bet you probably about 3 to 5 of them are from Facebook groups. Facebook groups, because Facebook loves the groups, because there's lots of engagement happening in groups. You know, a lot like your local groups, I own the Go Off Dads group. Go Off Dads group's always top of content for me. Any sort of content like that is always going to be near the top because there's lots of community involvement, lots of conversations happening, and that's what Facebook loves. So if you can create an ad that stimulates that conversation, you're going to get a lot of cheap Facebook ads.
True. And kind of an aside, I just saw that Facebook is now allowing you to run sponsored ads in groups. I don't know if you saw that, but
that's a brand new update. That just came out. Yeah. So look out for that in the coming weeks, is the ability to target groups, which is huge because, you know, previously we've had to be a little savvy with the way we target groups. You can't exactly do it through Facebook. We have to do it through other means. Yeah. We don't need to get into that. That's another rabbit hole. But if you have any questions about how to target groups, just hit us up.
Yeah. And so just kind of closing off and moving into the final point, which is related to engagement and, you know, all the engagement that we're seeing. And if Facebook ads are actually working for us and our clients right now, is the Facebook boycott, which I'm sure everybody has heard about. And for the most part, is probably just reading headlines of what's going on and what it's all about. And we won't dive into that too much, but it's super interesting because Facebook just came out with their second quarter earnings report, and it's hilarious because all of these articles have been coming out recently showing how much money big brands like Coca-Cola and Best Buy and you name it are pulling off of Facebook. They're not spending ads anymore because they're protesting, the anti-hate and racism policies that Facebook does or doesn't have, and how strict maybe they are, which I agree maybe they need to look into and do their part to make sure that stuff is staying off the platform. But what I'm trying to get at here is, by reading that, you'd think that Facebook is hurting and they're not making as much money and blah 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 blah, whatever it might be. But they came out with their earnings report and they're actually up in revenue by 11%, and their user base has grown by, I think it was another 100 million users,
Really?
which is insane. And those new users, I will say, and I will admit, are not in North America, right? Because for the most part, Facebook is still not available widely in a lot of areas of the world. So a lot of those users are coming from other countries, but nonetheless, still growing. And their ad revenue has increased by 11%, despite massive companies pulling millions and millions of dollars off.
Yeah. So it's a couple things.
The point is, Facebook is built for the small business owner. Because at the end of the day, Coca-Cola is pulling their budget off of Facebook. They can, you know what I mean? They're Coca-Cola. But the reality is the small business, the small restaurant down the street, Facebook is what they live off of. That's how they grow their business. That's how they make money. That's how they attract people. So they can't afford to take a break from the platform or get off the platform. So really, it just shows you how important Facebook ads are to small businesses.
Yeah, it's like what happens when you put your hand in a bucket of water?
Yeah.
And you take your hand out. Is there a hole in there? Is there a hole in the bucket? Nah, it's filled. It's still filled. It doesn't go anywhere. That's just like Facebook advertising. There's so many people that are sitting there in the auction wanting to spend their money, but they can't because of other people are outbidding them. So great. Coca-Cola, pull out, no problem. Zuckerberg said, he's like, great, no problem. They'll come back. You know, he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. There's just so much money in the pot right now that, some people who, especially those people who are savvier, who set, budgets, they're set, not campaign budget optimization, but people who are in there actually setting bids, capping bids, saying, I will only pay $25 per lead. Well, maybe Facebook is not accepting those offers because they're accepting that in the auction because the bid needs to be at $30. So all that's happening is all these budgets are pulling out and Facebook's fulfilling those requests pretty much. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I do want to go back because one thing you said there about it's the hate speech thing with Facebook. So what it is essentially, and I understand this point, a lot of advertisers don't want to have their content in a video stream connected to some hate ad. Yeah. Right. 100%. And they're paying for that. So what they're saying is, one of the points that they want to make is, we want to get a refund anytime our ad is connected to a piece of content that's pulled down because of hate. Yeah. Which they should be refunded for that. You know what I mean? Like Nike doesn't want to have their ad, or Levi Strauss doesn't want to have their ad next to, and Black Lives Matter post, for example. They might not want that connection. Yep. Right. So anyway, that's kind of the deal with the hate speech. But with the boycott, I'm not worried about it. And like you said, it's going to benefit all small business owners because they'll be able to get more impressions for a lower ad spend.
100%.
Awesome.
Well, that's pretty much all we have for today. We hope our rambling wasn't too bad, and you all stayed engaged, and we were able to provide some interesting news and tips for y'all today. So if you have any questions about anything that we discussed today, obviously hit us up on any of our social media channels. Jason or I are happy to talk to anybody about any of that. And we will be back next week with another guest, another normal podcast. So don't forget to rate and subscribe to our podcast. And Jason, you want to leave with any parting words?
We'll see you soon. No, but David's right. Make sure, we need you to subscribe and on your favorite podcast channel and give us 5 stars. We can't ask for that enough. We want more people to hear this podcast. We love you for listening to the podcast, but we're going to be selfish and greedy, and we want more. So if you guys can help us out along this journey, that would be amazing, and we really appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll see you soon.